These are the Nintendo official Joy-Cons. As much as I like them, they have two major down points in my opinion. The thumbsticks feel horrible, and the second thing is the overall ergonomics of them. They're not comfortable to use for a long period of time. So when Binbok kindly sent over their slim Joy-Cons to check out, I was really intrigued because I'd seen a ton of videos on their full-size Joy-Cons on YouTube by the likes of Wolf Den and Spawnwave. So I was really intrigued to see what these are like. I have a lot to talk about these. I'm going to be talking about the build quality, how I feel about the buttons, how I feel about the thumbsticks, and I'll also be talking about a couple of the down points of these Joy-Cons as well. So stick around, that's what we're going to be getting into today, so let's get straight into it. Right, so I'm going to start this off by answering a very simple question. Do I think that the Binbok Joy-Cons are better than the official Nintendo Joy-Cons? And it's a very, for me personally, I think it's a very easy answer. And that is, yes, I believe these absolutely trash and embarrass official Joy-Cons. Now, the official Joy-Cons do have a couple extra features that you don't get with these, like HD Rumble and the NFC reader, but I think these just do such a good job at a much lower price point, and yet I just think they're better. So to kick things off then, when you get these in the box, obviously the box is very basic. There's no real like branding on it at all. I have seen a couple other brands that have used this exact shell and they do look exactly the same. I don't know who owns the IP for these Joy-Cons, but the implementation here with Binbok is really good. So in terms of what you get in the box, obviously you get the Joy-Cons themselves, you get the grip where you can turn it into like a Pro controller replacement, you get a Type-C to Type-C USB cable. This is for the bottom of the Joy-Cons where you can update the firmware via a PC, and then you also get your manual as well. Straight off of the bat, you'll notice there's a key feature here that you notice straight away, and that is that they have RGB. I'm very inclined to purchase stuff that has RGB. My setup has tons of it. Because these are transparent, obviously you can see where all the individual LEDs are. If you hold the turbo button and click the stick in, it will give you a little vibration and change the color. There it is on purple. That looks quite nice. I think I'm going to keep it there. It doesn't affect the use of it at all. Obviously it's just there because you can see it. In terms of the design of the Joy-Cons themselves, this is where it has a huge advantage over original Joy-Cons, and that is that they are so comfortable to hold in the hand. They're not absolutely massive. I would have these hands down over the original larger Binbok Joy-Cons, just because I don't want a massive controller attached to my Switch. These are still nice and slim, whilst also being incredibly ergonomic. You can see where it comes up at the back of the controller here, and it really gives you a nice grip on the Joy-Con. And as you can see here, it is on the joining plate here to turn it into a Switch Pro controller replacement. In terms of comparing it to the original Joy-Cons in the grip, this grip has its own kind of ergonomic handles on them, but this is still more comfortable, and obviously the grips go with you when you take it off to go use it directly with your Switch. I would happily not own a third-party controller and play with this as my main controller. It's really ergonomic, it's really comfortable, it feels great, there's no flex or wobble and yeah, it feels really, really good. In terms of the build quality and the plastic materials, I have no issues here. Obviously, these are the transparent Joy-Cons, and transparent plastic is really easy to show blemishes and stuff and potential hairline cracks in the plastic. And looking at all of the joints, there's absolutely nothing. These look absolutely fantastic. No scratches or anything on the plastic. It feels really, really good. It doesn't feel cheap. In terms of price, these are £70, obviously without the grip. These are £41. So the difference in price is actually massive, considering I think these are better in almost every way. That is another factor that you have to take into it. In terms of the buttons, you've got nice clicky shoulder buttons, you've got clicky left and right triggers, and to be honest with you, they're very consistent with each other. I've seen a few videos where the left one feels a slightly different to the right one, and to be fair, my original Joy-Cons do that. I just have a feeling that everything on the left hand side of the Switch is slightly different to the right hand side for whatever reason. Plus and minus is nice and clicky. Face buttons aren't that clicky switch, it's more of a membrane switch, but again, feels good. I think these feel better than the official buttons. Obviously the turbo, home and screenshot buttons are that clicky tactile buttons again. Thumbsticks, these, I don't understand why this wasn't able to be implemented on the official Joy-Cons. It is a full motion joystick with the click-ins. They feel so much better than the official thumbsticks on the official Joy-Cons. They don't hold a candle to this. This is absolutely fantastic, and at a fraction of the cost. I don't understand how these can be so much better. The D-pad isn't great. It feels really quite mushy. It's not amazing to use. Technically, with Joy-Cons, you don't even get a D-pad. You just get face buttons, which I know you use because it's so you can use the two separate Joy-Cons for two separate players on some games. But yeah, at least here you get a D-pad, albeit a not very good D-pad. As well, you can use these as separate controllers, so they work just the same as normal Joy-Cons. You've got your buttons here, and you've got your pairing button. When you first get them to pair them to your Switch, it's very easy. All you do is connect them to the Switch, and they automatically pair. And then you can connect them wirelessly from then on, and all you've got to do is press the home button on each Joy-Con, and they pair just like that. It's really good. In terms of obviously using it and playing games, this is so ergonomic. It feels so good to play on. I can't believe it's that much better than the official Joy-Cons. Obviously, it adds a little bit more width to the Switch, but in terms of actually just using it, it is so much more comfortable for longer playing periods. And yeah, these will be my default Joy-Cons to play with now. I think, yeah, it's good to have a pair of official Joy-Cons with your Switch, but I don't plan on using them at all for anything really, unless people come over. I plan on solely using these with my Switch. The size does technically bring it onto another down point of these Joy-Cons, and that is because of the sheer size of them. They're quite hard to get into a carry case. With my carry case, I wasn't able to close the lid and zip it up with the Joy-Cons attached. However, if I detach the Joy-Cons, turn them on their side, and then close the lid, I was able to shut the case and zip it up, all without interfering with any of the thumbsticks or anything like that. So for me personally, with the case I use, it is still able to be travelled with, which obviously is the main thing when it comes to wanting to take these on the go. Can these fit into your existing case? Attached to the Switch, no. Place them on their side, yes. But obviously it depends on what type of case you have. Going back to pricing, these are £41, whereas opposed to the official Switch Joy-Cons, which are £69.99. Yes, you lose out on HD Rumble, which is quite nice, and yes, you lose out on NFC capabilities. But for me, I don't use the NFC reader. I pretty much solely play Pokemon. But even for like your action games, etc., I'd rather have this ergonomic style and these joysticks rather than the HD Rumble. I think the joysticks are far more important because it's something that you interact with all the time as you're playing on it. That leaves me to go back to the first question that I answered. Do I recommend these? Absolutely. And do I think these are better than official Joy-Cons? I think it's an absolute triumph. These are a fraction of the cost. They feel so much nicer in the hand. They don't feel cheap. They've got a nice feel to them. It's got a D-pad, albeit an average one. These, for me, just absolutely outclass the official Joy-Cons. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a like. Subscribe to All About Tech if you enjoy tech videos and reviews just like this one. Comment your thoughts down below as always, and I'll catch you guys out in the next video. Bye for now.